Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 17th of October, comes to you from Sydney, Australia. And I'm just watching the cars going over the harbour bridge, heading into the sunset. So it's Monday evening here, but of course, 8:15 in London. So looking at markets, mixed colours on the screen today, the start of the week. Quite a bit of green, so we can just see at a glance a mixed start. This is my long term, my medium term, and my short term view of the market. Corresponding point and figure targets. The dollar is still bullish on that long and medium term chart. Short term, we are just testing the cloud. We've been flatlining actually for the last week or so. Euro, therefore, is looking bearish on the long and medium term, but short term, we are again just flatlining. The yen, we've been seeing 32-year lows against the dollar, and that's been a real crisis in Japan, and talk of more intervention there. We've got a new upside target brewing here, and that is scary, and some very big upside targets which we're driving towards. These targets were in place years ago, and they're now being met, so you really can't ignore the targets. Sterling is seeing a little bit of respite today, with a new chancellor in place, and positive messages for the market. So we are short-term bullish, but of course, medium and long-term, these charts are bearish, and they have been for some time. So regardless of the political situation in the UK, these charts have been falling, and we've got some pretty big downside targets to parity in several places there. So we can't ignore the fact that those targets are there. Against the euro, sterling has the upper hand today. We are just nudging this 116 level. That is resistance, a bit of a triangle building here. We've got targets to 119.60, 122. That one not yet activated. We have got a medium-term target here that is activated to that level, and an even bigger target to 132. So it looks like sterling might have just found some support at that level, and starting to look a little bit better. Still got to cross the cloud. We're not really bullish on sterling until we're back above 118. Bitcoin is still sitting below the $20,000 mark, so it's still game over for crypto. We saw the S&P 500 index down on Friday. Looking at the future today, we are up 1%. So just looking a little bit better there, but the reality is we are on a long-term and medium-term downtrend with big downside targets. So that is a fact. Looking at the Ftse Future in London, we've just opened up 0.25% there, and the DAX in Germany up by a similar amount, but still bearish below the cloud on those medium and long-term charts. Short-term looking a little bit better, but we are just fighting those longer-term trends, of course. Looking to Asia, Japan was down 1%. Currency was really not helping there. And if we look at some of the other markets, the Hang Seng was down 0.25%. China was up 0.4%. Markets taking Xi Jinping's speeches in their stride, but the fact is we are bearish on those medium and long-term charts. The Sensex in India up 0.75%, so looking a little bit better there, and the Aussie market actually down 1.4%. So inflation fears driving things lower in here in Oz at the moment, so not looking so good. Some of the soft commodities, we'll look at the energy mix in a minute. Some of the soft commodities, we've got copper up 0.33%. Wheat, really interesting the way that these commodity prices spiked, pulled back, and now finding a base and just going at a more steady trend. So just starting to come back into that long-term. We're long-term bullish, medium-term bullish with this upside target, recovery target met. But short-term, not really clear with targets there. But we are just seeing commodities still holding their long-term uptrend, so that's quite key there. Corn did much the same, and back into short-term bullish territory. Gold in the doldrum, sitting at $16.50. Silver did have a spurt and pulled right back to $18.50. So having broken that $20 level, couldn't hold on to it, So we are still in that short-term downtrend there. US 10-year yields nudging the 4% level, so that's going to be quite key. All eyes on Apple this week, 138, remembering that 130 is the critical level for Apple. We break that June low, and that is really bearish. And of course, that is the world's biggest stock, and so one we really do need to watch. Looking at Brent crude, we're up 1% this morning. Not looking great on that long-term trend. Just couldn't get above $100 there, but did find support back in the low 90s. So looking a little bit better there. WTI up 1%. So bullish for today. We went out as neutral to clients. Gas prices globally have been falling. US nat gas breaking that critical 640 level. Downside targets there. We put report out to clients on that today. And coal we've covered as well, of course. Coal just struggling at this 250 mark, and that's going to be the level to watch this week. Emissions, we're down nearly 2% this morning. This 64, 65 levels really critical for emissions. Keep an eye on your 1 minute point and figure charts in real time. Watch those targets developing. If you're trading emissions, you really need those. And looking at gas prices, we went out to clients this morning, again, bearish on gas, and no big surprises there. We've been bearish now for a few weeks on gas, and we're just seeing that falling lower and lower. That 130 level now critical. Looking at MBP, that was TTF. Looking at MBP, similarly bearish there as well as we push lower. German power below the critical 420 level, and downside targets there as well. And of course, we produced a report the week before last giving the floor for German power, and it's some way below here, so that you need to look at that report. You'll find it in the news in Updata. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, back in Sydney. Happy charting. See you then.